place you are volunteering, you just don't know. Maybe that's where the opportunity is, the value of volunteering. In 2007, she registered for the wedding and event planning certification course, but withdrew later. After many years of feeling something was missing, in 2011, she was given the opportunity to plan a wedding, and after seeing the outcome, she re-enrolled. I really like this. I said, I had to write this. I had to read it down. She re-enrolled to be a certified event planner and Creations by Mercy. So if Creations by Mercy was born in 2012, there's just something about knowledge gives you power. You know what to do. Yes, native intelligence is good, but it takes you somewhere and you are stuck. You go and learn from the experts. So I really like that. Today, Mercy works as a social worker full-time while pushing her vision for Creations by Mercy to someday give up her 9-to-5 job and be a full-time event planner. Let's put our hands together and welcome our sister and our friend, Mercy. Thank you. I'll pull up the slide.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you for having me. A lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be about perseverance and encouragement. It is very difficult to start a business. It's one thing to say, I have this business, and talking to the people around you, it's like, okay, I really I can do it, this is going to be great, but it's another thing to actually start and want to continue. So, as you heard in my bio, so that I enjoyed after getting the opportunity to do it, and I was like, okay, let me go register, and then at least maybe people will take me seriously that way. And I started the course, and I was just like, I don't have time for this. I'm in school for other things, I'm working full-time, I'm doing all these things, I don't have time for it. So I kind of put it to the side, and I didn't continue. And then after years of, you see other people doing it, and I was like, but that should be me. I should be doing it. Why am I not doing it? And then I went back and I re-enrolled. So what I'm saying is that, your first step might not be that actual first step, but if you continue, eventually you take that first step, and then once you take it, there's no stopping. There's no going back, because you can't envision, your life without this thing in it. So, the ultimate measure of a man or leader, business owner, is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at the time of challenge and controversy. Mr. Shalab talked a lot about the statistics. So, 97.9% of businesses in Canada are small businesses. To me, that's saying we need small businesses. So we need more people to have the courage to say, I'm going to start a business. I have a service that I can provide. I have something that I can provide to others that is going to be worthy. And we have to take it upon ourselves to push the people around us to be able to take these steps. So 69.7% of the total private labor force is small businesses, which employs over 8.2 million. That's a lot. I started thinking, 8.2 million, can you imagine if more people actually took that step to start that business? That 8.2 million we're talking about today can be double in the next 10 years. So, but it takes that first step, and it takes the encouragement. So what is perseverance? The persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. A business owner who perseveres does not give up or quit when something does not go as planned. Instead, a business owner will consider the circumstances, find a potential solution, and take the steps to rise above the challenge. Burger King did not say we're not going to start because McDonald's already exists. And that's just the reality of it. A lot of us, especially those that are in, the service providing sector, we start thinking, there's a lot of people that are already doing it. There's a lot of things that are already happening. But what makes you different? What people need to understand is you're doing business with a person. As much as you want to think you're doing business with a company, you're doing it with a person. So what is it that you have that that person doesn't have? We're not equal. And that's just what it comes down to. So you really have to think about what is it that I have to offer that, the person that already started it doesn't have to offer. Finding that thing and staying true to it is what pushes a lot of people to succeed. But when you try to be like everyone else, that's when a lot of businesses start to fail, because there's no authenticity. So even though you're providing the same service, there's still something different about the way you're providing it to the way that person is providing it. And because everybody is different, I might like the way you're providing it, so I'm gonna come to you. My friend might like the way you're providing it, and they're gonna come to you. There is a space for everybody. There's enough room for everybody. And I think a lot of times what we end up thinking is because, this person's doing it, that person's doing it, there's no room for everybody. I notice, I always drive, when I'm driving, I always notice different things. And I'm like, oh, there's a Caribbean restaurant over there. There's another one 2 minutes down the street. And they're always, always busy, both of them. They have the same menu. They're providing the same thing. But there's something different about each one. So when you're looking into, starting your business and what it is that you want to do, you want to think about what is it that makes me different? And you really want to capitalize on that. And that's something that, that goes into the marketing and all those other things. It's things that you want to bring to the forefront of your business and say, this is what makes me different. And this is why I can provide this service to you. So some leaders. Walt Disney. So Walt Disney was fired from the Kansas City newspaper because of his lack of creativity. We're talking Walt Disney, and someone thought that he lacked creativity. He started an animation company called Laugh-O-Gram, but was forced to shut it down when his distributors went out of business. So he was barely able to pay rent, do anything, but he still continued to persevere and push because he knew that he had something that was worth something, and he continued to push. Now, Walt Disney is the biggest animation. Anybody here been to Walt Disney World? I haven't, but I'm telling you, it's something that I'm going to do one day. It's that experience. So this is somebody that people thought lacked creativity, who now provides an experience for people. Walt Disney is beyond, the movies, it's beyond the characters, it's that experience. It's the experience that the children get when they watch the movies. It's the experience you get when you take that vacation trip. So he was able to understand that he had that experience to offer. And that's what has made Walt Disney what it is today. Steve Jobs, co-founder of one of the world's most successful companies. He was proof that perseverance is essential. In 1997, he was on the brink of bankruptcy. If he had listened to everyone else around him who was like, nope, this is it, there would be no Apple. But he pushed, and he's like, okay, I know you guys are saying that, it's not gonna work, bankruptcy is gonna come, but I still believe that there's still something there. And he pushed, and he pushed, and he pushed. It is really important to believe in yourself way more than you even imagine you can believe in yourself. Sometimes you feel like your dreams are so big that they're not realistic. That's what you need, that push, because a lot of things are going to happen where it's not going to work the way you want to work. And if every single time something doesn't go as planned, you have that market plan and you have all these things and you have all these goals and you build all these steps and they don't go as planned. If you were to quit every single time that happened, nobody would be here. And that 8.2 million people that we're talking about that are employed by small businesses, where would they be? J.K. Rowling. He's the author of Harry Potter, the Harry Potter series. Harry Potter is such a large enterprise. It is worth nearly 15 billion right now. And when he started, when she started, it was a small publishing company. and they told her, you know what, you're not gonna work out here, you need to go get a day job. And she was getting a divorce, her mother had just passed away from multiple sclerosis, but all of that negativity that was happening in her personal life didn't stop her from achieving that goal that she wanted to achieve. So it's really important that you don't let, the noise and the background to affect what it is that you want to pursue and what it is that you want to do. You have to keep pushing. So what obstacles could you possibly face? Sorry. You might find this place that you really want to rent and you're like, okay, this is great. You get the place, you sign the papers, after 6 months, a year, rent is going up and you don't think you can afford it. Sales may plummet. You may lose that drive or creativity. When you start getting so comfortable to the point where you're losing that drive and creativity, at that point you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what is it that's happening. What am I doing wrong? What am I not doing right? Because when you start getting so comfortable to the point where new ideas are not coming, it means that something is going wrong. And a lot of small businesses fail because of that. They start getting comfortable and then there's no more drive and then they don't move, they get into that hump. And once you get into that hump, if you continue down that road, it's hard to come back from it. So you have to continuously go back to the drawing board and think, okay, what can I do next? As time is evolving, you kind of have to evolve with it. We're in that realm of social media. If you didn't have social media before for your businesses, you need to hop on that. You have to continue to grow as the economy is growing, because if you don't, what ends up happening is you're losing a huge demographic of potential customers. A lot of times we don't want change. Change is difficult and we don't like it, but we have to continue to learn and grow from it. Competitors may increase. I know a lot of people that say, oh, there's so many of these companies now, there's so many of this, there's so many of that. You can't listen to that. If you focus on that, you're not going to focus on what makes you different. You have to continue to find your voice in the midst of all the many voices and then push through that. Investors. I know that's a huge part of it, right? When you knock on the first door and you're like, oh, I have this product, I think it's going to be great. And once you're not getting the sales that you want, you're not getting the outreach, you start thinking, okay, maybe this isn't a good idea. It might be the first door, the second door, it could be the 10th door you knock on. And that person is like, all right, I want to do business with you. But you have to keep pushing, because a lot of us don't realize how close we are to actually achieving that goal when we give up. So it's very important to continue to push, because you don't know what's on the other side of that. So you need to set SMART goals. Specific. What is it that you want to achieve? Measurable. How are you going to measure it? What are the smaller steps in between the larger steps that's going to get you to understand if it's actually working? Achievable. Is this realistic? Is it something that can be achieved within that timely manner? Relevant. Does your objective line up with what it is that you're trying to do and what product you have that you're selling? Timely. Set a deadline and stick to it. Don't set a deadline and then as you're getting closer, you notice it's not going to work, so you keep pushing it. The more you keep pushing that deadline, you're never going to reach it. In conclusion, having a failing business doesn't mean it's the end of the road. You'll encounter obstacles along the way, but you will also find ways to overcome those obstacles. Someone somewhere has gone through the same trials you face. Learn from their stories and use your own story as a lesson for improvement. Now, what I'm saying with that is we all need to learn from each other. Being here today, I've learned so many different things. But when you don't talk to people and when you don't share your stories, you don't learn. Invest, take workshops. You continue to grow. The more you continue to grow, the more you're able to expand. But when you don't say anything and when you don't learn anything, you stay stuck. So it's very important to continue to grow, because when you grow as an individual, you grow your business as well. So you want to continue to put into yourself, invest in yourself. If it's night school, do it. If it's an online course, do it. There's always something to learn. Nobody knows. You can always learn from those that are in the same business. A lot of us, especially, there's this Nigerian mentality that, oh, you know, I'm not going to go do business with this person because they're my competitor. Those are the things that are making us stagnant. What the knowledge that they have, I might not have. And the information I have, they might need. And this is where we need to grow together as a community. The more we can grow together as a community, the more we can push and help each other. But if we don't talk and if we don't share, then we can't do it. Thank you.
Very much, Mercy. That was amazing. Thank you. Just a couple of things. So Canada is a knowledge economy. And I read something sometime that blew my mind. There is new knowledge every 6 seconds. There is new knowledge. So if the last time you read something new is when you left university 15 years ago, times 6 seconds. So imagine where you are. And I really, I like her story. She went back to, some of us need to go back to school. And it doesn't mean you quit your job. There are so many ways to learn today. There are online courses, there are night courses, there are free courses. There are, go to lynda.com, go to Udemy, go to Coursera, free courses. So there is no excuse not to learn. And you are as important as what you know, whether you like it or not. You are as important as what you know. So once you found the area you are, be the best in that area. Develop yourself, be an authority in that area. And people look for knowledge, people are looking for solution. It's not about skin color, it's not about your height, it's not about, it's what